Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, we're going to do a trigger warning. I'm going to watch a particular video. And the reason why is you're going to see in the next paragraph how the JRC tries to downplay the suffering that they cause through their GED device. We're going to watch that video, we'll finish up the disclaimers, and then we'll go into it. Trigger warning. The video that you are about to see is extremely distressing. You will see violence and torture being carried out against a young black man who's autistic. So please, folks, your discretion is very much greatly advised. This is what they're trying to say is not painful.
Screams of pain from a student at the Judge Rodenberg Center as he's tied down and shocked for hours. Good evening, I'm Mark Ackerman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maria Stefanos, Fox Undercover's camera, the only one in court today, as a jury is given its first look at that disturbing video. We want to warn you that the video is tough to watch. Mike Beaudet reports.
This is the video that the Judge Rodenberg Center in Canton has fought long and hard to keep from the public eye. The center convinced a judge 8 years ago to seal it, and the battle continued right up until it was played in court. As lawyers for the center asked the judge to bar our camera from recording it, the judge said no. And now, for the first time ever, the public can see for itself what these controversial electric shocks look like in use. Dramatic video of New York teenager Andre McCollins, restrained face down, a helmet on his head, screaming for help. Judge Rodenberg Center calls it treatment.
I was shocked number 16 or 17. 31 that day.
As McCollins' attorney just described, the teenager was shocked 31 times in all that day in 2002. McCollins is suing the Canton-based center, calling it torture. Lawyers for the center and its clinicians say McCollins needed aversive therapy because he was aggressive.
These are dramatic takes. There's no question about that. But the treatment plan at the Rodenberg Center, the treatment plan that Andre had in place on October 25 was followed.
It was an emotional day for McCollins' mother, Cheryl, who was in court as video was played from the beginning of Andre's ordeal, when he was shocked and restrained after refusing to take off his coat.
Does that sound like having behaviors to you? Does that sound like having behaviors?
From a student at the Judge Rodenberg Center as he's tied down.
No, it doesn't. Does it? Those screams were not due to any behaviors that he had. You saw that video. When you look at it, when you go back to the beginning, when he started having it, when they show him right there in his chair, sitting down, he wasn't having any behaviors. How can you listen to those screams? Watch.
I never signed up for him to be tortured, terrorized, and abused. I had no idea that they tortured the children in the school.
Cheryl testified what her son was like when she visited him 3 days later.
I couldn't turn Andre's head to the left, to the right. He was just staring straight. I took my hands and I went like this. He didn't blink.
Cheryl McCollins did get Andre to Children's Hospital that day, where he was diagnosed with acute stress response caused by the shocks. The jury also heard her testify about watching the video and hearing staff members laughing while their son was on the floor. We should see more video on Wednesday in court as Cheryl McCollins returns to the witness stand. I'm Mike Bodette for Fox Undercover.
So tell me, folks, does that sound like it's just a bee sting to you? You hear his screams and him begging. Does that sound like a bee sting to you? In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program, which consists of what you just watched. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much. They have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read that article and share it on all your social media. You'll also find linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC actually has the balls to see through with their threat. We also have linked in there the Ozark's first article in regards to the Agape boarding school / Stone for Help boarding school situation. This is a so-called Christian boarding school out in Stockton, Missouri, that has impending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which thus far have been substantiated by the hard evidence gathered by the Missouri Department of Social Services and include the following. Sodomy, sexual assault, rape, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another, a doctor, still on the premises, up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You have an attorney general too busy chasing drag queens to actually protect any of those kids from the real pedophiles out here. You've got a governor off his nuts, so please read that article and share it on all your social media. You got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including that video that you just watched. Autistica Hoya's massive archive on the subject. Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses. A clip like the one that you just watched that happened to Andre McCollins back in 2002. The templates and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. This channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity on occasion. We speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised. Trigger warning, we're about to descend into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, pseudoscience and lies, ableism and bigotry, all coming from a man with a massive ego and even larger God complex, so just be advised, alright? I played that video for a reason. It's because I want you to keep Andre McCollins' screams in the back of your mind. I want you to keep in your mind that this all happened to him, not because he was acting in a violent or aggressive manner or towards himself or anyone else, but simply because he refused to remove his coat. This was done to him. I want you to keep all of that information in the back of your mind while we go over the bunch of bullshit we're getting ready to read here. The pain and suffering is severe. There is a brief discomfort that lasts only for 2 seconds, during which the shock is applied. If you watch that video, you know that's a lie. Because JRC, one does not scream and holler and beg over a simple little pinch. One does not cry and scream and beg for their lives the way Andre McCollins did if it's not painful. That is a lie. Many JRC staff members routinely demonstrate the GED stimulus on themselves when requested to do so by visitors or parents, and none of them describe the pain as severe. Gee, I would wonder why. Would it be possibly because the staff are protecting their paychecks? Couldn't be, right? And tell me, doctor, when they are demonstrating the GED, what setting are they demonstrating it on? Are they demonstrating it on the lowest setting possible? Or are they demonstrating it at the same levels that you had Andre McCollins on in that video? Because my guess is going to be that you have it on the lowest setting possible, which means the parents do not get an actual, realistic view of what those devices are like in use. The students in question do, however, suffer or cause severe pain when they cause grievous injury to themselves through self-mutilation or to others with violent aggression. Again, doctor, what violent actions was Andre McCollins taken in that video? He was seated. He was not even so much as standing up, nor was he speaking out of turn. The only thing Andre McCollins did that day was refuse to remove his coat. This is not a violent action, nor is it a self-abusive action. But you still use it as an excuse to do what you did in that video. Your own surveillance cameras do not match your words. In addition, the massive dosages of medication that many of them are on prior to coming to JRC often cause them unrelenting discomfort and despair. That's, again, a lie. That's that anti-pharma, big pharma, right? Big pharma, the big monster, the boogeyman. Though, doctor, let me tell you about that boogeyman. The only reason why my uncle is able to function today as a full human being is because of his medications. My uncle has schizophrenia. He's gone long years in his life where he was completely unable to function, let alone maintain relationships with his family or anybody else for that matter. That medicine allowed him to live a full life where he had a wife before she passed away, where he lives on his own, maintains work, keeps his home clean, is able to budget and live his life in a relatively comfortable manner. None of that would have been possible without the medication that he is on. I have other individual friends like Josie, Sarah for that matter. These medicines are 100% necessary. They're not the boogeyman. Am I saying Big Pharma doesn't overstep itself? No, because I'm not a liar. They do indeed. But this man, as we've seen earlier, has stated that he believes that schizophrenics should be taken off their medicine and subjected to his torture methods instead. Well, doctor, I see you. And you'll put my uncle on your fucking torture device and take his meds away from him over my dead body. Just in case that's not clear. The truth is, folks, you cannot watch that video that we watched at the beginning here and then tell me that Andre McCollins is not suffering. You cannot watch that video and listen to his screams as he begs. A small clip out of a 7-hour ordeal. and tell me that he's not in a massive amount of pain. Dr. Matthew Israel's words and his reassurances mean absolutely nothing when you watch that video. They're not worth the paper that they're written on and have better uses for toilet paper, or let's save some trees and not type bullshit. We're going to go ahead and close on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.